So you have 4 forms. Okay. I often use the one I buy for Scholastic for 10 bucks, and I simply enlarge it so the child can read it. Yeah, I can enlarge it and let them read right from here. That way I don't have to buy, or Xerox a lot of them. You can also Xerox it. Now the child will get 1 minute to read. And what you tell them, basically, the directions are there, but generally, I want you to read normally as accurately as you can, and you're going to need to remember information you learn when you read. You're going to read for 1 minute. Now I'm going to time you and get your words per minute. And then you're going to have to remember some of the information. If I read 7C, this would be how I'd grade it. And if they got to, let's say, the word intolerable, they read 72 words a minute. If they got to the word below, they read 62. If they got to the word wait, they read 64 words a minute. So they quickly read, and you write how many words per minute they got. Okay, hopefully at 7th grade, they're down here. Now, at that point, you stop them and read the rest. Tell them if you'd like, follow along, and you read the rest of it to them. So you know that they're reading, let's say, 72 words a minute. You read the rest to them, and then you tell them that I want you to tell me everything you can remember. So they will tell you what they remember. And if they don't give you a main idea, you'll ask, is there something that's kind of the main idea? And then you'll ask a why question. Okay. Now this is a general comprehension score. They score it from 1 to 6. Generally, if a child only remembers 2 or 3 things, it's a 1. If they're remembering 4 or 5, it's more like a 2. If they're remembering 6, 7, 8, it's like a 3. 8, 9, 10 is like a 4. So kind of every 3, you raise it up. It's a general ballpark. Can they get the main idea and inference? If they can't get the main idea and inference, it can't get the highest score, 6. That's got to be, they've got to be able to tell you the main idea, and they have to be able to answer an inference question. So this kid's reading 72 words. And let me tell you generally how it works. I'll have kids who give me 2 sentences about what it's about, and that's it. And lo and behold, that's the kid with comprehension problems and memory problems. I'll have other kids give me 16 facts as well as inference. Say it's night and day. They may be only reading 55 words a minute, but when I read, their linguistic competence is right on the money, okay? So this test will give you words per minute. You'll keep a track of errors, and you'll score it here. This is like how many words they read, how many wrong, and then the percent, and then you put how many words correct. So they might have had 74 words, 70 words correct were 72, words read 76, you got a percent, and then what their words correct was. This lays out to you how you score these. They're 1 to 4. Generally, I find the scores in these are pretty much the same. If a kid has no expression, very little phrasing, smoothness, pace, it's 1. If he's a start 1, he's going to be here. If he's a start 2, he's usually getting 2s here. If he's a start 3 or 4, he's often getting like a 3 here. If he's a 5, he may be getting 5 or the max score. I find these correlate with my starts. 1s, again, get nothing, 1 or nothing. And then comprehension's 1 out of 6. So you got a score on speed, errors, fluency, and comprehension. There's 4 forms, so you can give this 4 different times, okay? So this is a good test through Scholastic. Again, cost about 10 bucks. It has a grade 1 to 4 and 5 to 8. I have both of them, okay? All right, so the Tower has 2 tests. It has 1 for nonsense words and 1 for real words. They're 45 seconds each. Okay. So let's look at the phonemic decoding. So the child will have 10 practice words of nonsense words before they do it. They get 45 seconds. they will accept an open syllable, the short sound. They will accept that. The directions tell you that. So ip, gat or gay, ka or ko, ta or te. You know, in my case, I would make them do it long, but they accept either. Ig, nin, I, pim, wum, lat. Okay. So when you get a start one, they're getting maybe this and they're getting half of them wrong or all of them wrong. You get a start two, they may get to here, but they got several of them wrong. Start threes will be doing okay. Four may get up to here and even two syllable words, you know. They only get 45 seconds. Now, why this is tough is you've got time and you got hard things for phonics, okay? It also costs you money for the tower, and I'm not sure what bells and whistles you're supposed to jump through for it, you know? But that's what this test, it's quick to the point. Now, in my testing at the clinic, I do my survey, which I'm gonna get to as soon as I'm done with this. I do this because it's quick and it's immeasurable, and I do the Scholastic real quick. And then I go to my board, my books, and that gives me a good overlook of where the child is. Then you have the sight word test. And again, you'll have practice words, a few practice words, and I'll read these sight words as fast as you can. Well, this is where you're going to find out about a word form area. So the 1 or 2 is going is, pa. They may be stuck here. They don't have a clue what this is. And okay. Obviously, no word form area. Start 2 may get a little further, but they won't know this, and they might not know this or this, and a few words they could sound out. So it's real clear. The child with a sight word memory might be going is, up, cat, read, me, to, no, we, he, the, and, yes, of, as, book, was, help, then, time, would, let, men, baby, knew, stop, work, jump, part, fast. You'll obviously see a word form areas firing. I've had kids get up to this far with word form areas firing. Okay. So that tells you what you need to know. So this is one of my hints about word form areas right here. Okay. You know, if you're at 5th grade and you're having trouble with this, your word form area is not working. Okay. So this is 45 seconds. So you know that the child, now this scores low and it shows improvement low. But many of our kids will enter at the kindergarten or 1st grade level on both these tests. Or start 1, 2s, and 3s, many of them will, and then leave it around 2, 5, or 3. On the woodcock, they would have gone up 4 or 5 years. Now, I start, of course, with my survey, which is in the lessons book. So if you want to look at that, it's right at pretty much in the beginning. Okay, so we're trying to find out the start of the child. You know, are they a non-reader? Are they a start 2? Are they a breaking? Are they a emerging reader, Voltag kid? Are they multi-stage, developing reader, or fluency? That's what you're trying to figure out. Okay, this is the kid survey. This is yours. It gives you an approximate start. Keep in mind with all this, you're getting an approximation. Even if I do it, it's approximation. Okay. Kid can't do any of this, start 1. You don't have to go further. I think my fastest test was 5 minutes. Kid came in, couldn't read any of these, didn't know any sounds or letters. I thanked him for coming. I said, you're dynamite. Can't wait to see you. Fastest testing we had. I didn't need to have this kid fail anymore. I had some things he could do well on. He knew a few sounds, so I had him teach me, so he felt good. By the way, anytime a kid is doing poor, I'll take something he knows and have him teach me. Okay. Now, start 2s will usually know these and can read these okay, and will struggle on some of these words, struggle on a few here and break down here. That's a start 2. So they're 1 syllable guys, and we go to the start 2 checklist and we look at what book. Okay. This is crucial. So once you get your start, you're going to go look at it, and I'll show you that in a minute. The start 3 kid will do all right here. We'll do this maybe even. Drove, crud, flame, crime. He'll have trouble with these because they're magic E's that aren't frequent. He gets these because these are frequent. Don't win, mop, and grip at the rugs, points, pots, and lice. Make the best of life's problems. Cope with them. He might get happen, calls this collapse, suppose, describe, difficult. How I know he's a Voltag kid is he breaks down here. Admit your mystics, try not to make excuses. We must resin the ends and desire. Okay, he's a start 3. So I go to my checklist to start 3 and look at what's the best series for him. If he's 5th, 6th grade, I'm looking at the junior high school series. If he's 1st, 2nd grade, I'm looking at the elementary. I'm determining from that view. Valerie had a 7th grader. I went right to, who's a start 4. I went right to Georgetown Ghost, Pep Baker, because that's a high start 4 written for adolescents. All right, this kid does all right through here. He calls 13, forsooth, outlaw, tiffid, foot gear. He has trouble maybe with soothing, visage. Here he might call this ague, railroad, parsev, explanation, supervision. And he starts breaking down in here. That's a start 4. So I want to look to see what he is. Start 5 will just do well and read the whole thing. And I'm going, why is he here? Until I ask him a comprehension question. Like, they don't know anything. Now, the 3-minute survey, this will be obvious, the 3-minute test, because they're going to oral read 100 words a minute. And then I'm going to read to them and they're going to give me 2 or 3 facts that are all concrete. And now I know the game, you know, I know what we're dealing with. It's pretty clear. Okay. So I've got this survey. I have an approximate start. The tower indicates, I think there are 2. The tower indicates they're at both 1st grade for real words and nonsense. That's start 2. And then I look at the, they're, let's say in grade 2, I look at the grade 2 test. They're reading 25 words a minute with 5 errors, but they got 10 points or a 5 for comprehension. Wow. Am I excited? This kid's got great language. He's smart and he's going to take off once he learns the code. Okay. All right. Now, once I've done this, I want to check them out on my board so I know what to give them credit for. So I'm going to go to the board. And I'm going to check his consonants. And he's pretty clean on the consonants. Few problems here. Does the vowels okay? So I know I'm going to clean him up. Right now I'm just checking. Doesn't know this or this. So he's a start 2. Some kids, good consonants and vowels. Knows this, knows this, knows this, knows this. He did start 4 on my survey. He's a start 4 on my board. So I'm going to give him credit for all this. Okay. So I want to check to see what he knows. Sometimes it can be surprising. A kid that's reading at 2nd grade, 25 words a minute, but his phonics, he knows this. That tells me he had a phonics teacher that taught him phonics well, but never applied it to reading, which happens often. I've had kids that go to this 200-hour course regularly and come to me at a start 2. They spent a lot of time memorizing words and reading some sounds, but they didn't read and do word attack like they need to do. And they spent way too much with sight words for a kid who has no sight word memory. His word form area isn't firing. Why are you wasting your time? Got to stimulate that. Okay, so that, now I then go to the book that I think he's going to be in. So I've done my 3-minute. First, I did my survey first. Got that. All right. After I did my survey, I checked the sounds. Then I will do the tower to see how his word tack and sight word is. Then I do the 3-minute. Now I have a good picture. I pick a book I think fits. I think he's a start 3. So I'd go to the back. of the book. All right. Okay, go to the back. Okay. Cindy, give me the grade of the kid. Just give me a grade.
Ninth grade.
Ninth grade. Okay, so I'm going to be looking at the books here. Ninth grade, start 3. So he's a start 3. He's here, ninth grade. Okay. It could be between the ghost ship, raft trip. It's a guy. Probably more of this. I'll talk about that. I'll ask him, would you like an adventure story or a historical fiction? He says, I don't like fiction. I want historical. Now I know what to do. I'm going to be doing the Chronicles of Yor, The Hunt, because that's my upper series. If he said he just loved fiction, Ghost Ship. You know, I said there's also a series about things that happens to you as an adolescent, a lot with women. He might say, yeah, I'd like to try that. So I know what book to start with. Okay. All right, Cindy, give me another grade level, age level.
11th.
11th grade. Okay, 11th grader, very similar. If he's here, I will ask him, you know, as 11th grader, I might go this route with him. By the way, first thing I'd start him with is the backside of the board, of course. But I'd say, you know, I have kind of 2 adventure stories, Ghost Ship, Raft Trip. This is with a woman in a dominant position. This is kind of an old-fashioned Hardy Boys kind of thing. I have a historical fiction series that goes up to 10th grade. It'll give you a little history. But I also have a life of somebody struggling with reading who becomes good in music. Do any of those interest you? I'd like to try the music book. Okay, we're on the edge. Okay. If he doesn't like it, I'll switch other books. That's why I have lots of books. All right, another grade.
4th.
4th grade. Okay, girl or guy?
Girl.
Girl, 4th grade. Pretty good language or severe language problems?
Severe.
Oh, severe language problems. Okay. 4th grade. Well, probably I would go then to Tells of Youth. Tells of Youth is my default for anyone with a severe issue up to like 4th grade, because we have to work with comprehension and language and vocab, etc. Okay. Now, if she had higher language, that's the girl I do Tells of Mystery with, which is girls really love. It goes to mid-5th, and you can move pretty quick through it. And that's for girls with higher language. Okay. Guys like it too, but girls like it the most. It's modeled on Chronicles of Narnia. Okay. So that's kind of how I picked the book. So I try them on the book. So I try her. Let's say she's a start 4, and I think she's in the R family. So I try her in Danger in the Dark. And she reads Danger in the Dark, 80 words a minute with 1 error. And I go, boy, that's it. I'm going to put her right there. She reads it 30 words a minute with 2 errors. I'm going to back up and try Hobo the Detective. Okay. So it's an approximation. So when my session's over, I know what start they are. I know what sounds they know. I know what their comprehension of phonics like, and I know what book I'm starting with. Okay. Now, were you going to ask something, Cindy?
Yeah. So if because I'm high school, the severe language would you still be in the?
No, I would be in Moondog as we talked.
Okay. Okay.
And also, when you look at Moondog, there's other series that are after it that are like it. So Moondog takes you to 2nd, then other series, I forget the names of them, but they're all around. If you research Moondog, you're going to find 4 other series. We also give this as a handout, the follow-up series, but I would stay with that because of the graphic nature of it,
Okay.
the diversity element of it. And if you're low, that's the route I'd go. I have no connection with them. But again, we're going to give you contact with all those books.
Okay.
All right. Now, let's say you have nothing. Again, you're in Hobo, Nevada, population of 22. There's no money in the district. Of those 22, 10 are kids. So you got to get by. All right. Now, for free, my survey's for free. Okay. So you do my survey and the board, you can use the board or a copy of it. That's free. So you can check what start and what, how the sounds are without paying a penny. Okay. Now I have a free reading of phonics test that I've created called the TNT. It adds power to your reading. That's Tatum Nonsense Test. All right, so I'm going to go to the TST first. All right. This is the TST. Basically, in this, you get 30 seconds to read the words, as many as you can.
Wait, are you wanting us to see the TST, Steve?
Yes, I do. So in this test, I went to the 1,000 most frequent words. Well, I went to the 150 words that are used 90% of the time when we read. And I took out the true sight words from those. And these are the true sight words from the most important words for reading that are sight words. This is a kindergarten list. This is kind of a first, second grade list. And this is third through like sixth grade list. Now, so these are true sight words. See, a lot of sight word lists, half of them are phonics words. So you're memorizing the wrong words, okay? So I give them 30 seconds. The kid will go to, here, you, Kim, Viz, Buzz, there, for them in 30 seconds. Great. So I'm going to work on these. These will be the list I'm going to work on for his first sight words, because these are the ones that count. Now, my next form has the same sight words, but in a different order. Why do a sight word test in the fall that hits incident, particular, car, and storm, and one in the summer that hits spectacular, manhunter, burglar, and clown? I mean, learning these sight words are not going to help those. All that's measuring is your word form area. So what I'm measuring is your true improvement in sight words. So I take the same important sight words and I have 4 forms for it, all in different orders, but the same words. Does that make sense? So when I test this kid, out of 20 words, he gets 5 right. That's 5 times 5%, 5% for each, is 25% of the words. So his score is 25%. Notice it's not 25% against a normal population, in which case he'd be 5. It is just he's getting 25% of those words correct. And then when I test him a month later on Form B, he gets 55%. And then he gets 75%, and that's saying a lot. He's now getting 75% of the sight words needed for kindergarten. If I have a start 2, we'll usually start here unless he starts missing some right away. Then I'll go back to this list. But start 2s know many of these. Now, Andy, who you saw, would have struggled with this, but now he's nailed this list, and is working on this. His word form area is starting to shine a little. Like today, he's had a couple words he remembered, which I was excited about. By the way, if he's tired, forget it. No word form area. But if he's sharp like he was today, he'll sound out a word and he's starting to remember it. It's starting to fire. I'm getting real excited because when his fires, he's going to make a huge jump. Okay. Now my start 4, this list, unless they break down multiple words. I have this on the sheet. If they break down like 4 out of the 10, we go back and do this list. So, but usually like a start 4, I'll give them a shot on this. What percent do they get? A good start 4 should ace this. Okay. A start 2 kid should do pretty well. So let's say in 30 seconds, they get to vary and miss 4 words. Those are the first 4 words I'm going to teach them with orthographic spelling technique. Orthographic mapping will be the 4 words he misses. Then the next time I time him, when he gets here, I'll work on those words. Okay, so this is the sight word test. So let's go back. You don't have the tower. You don't have the 3-minute. You have this. Okay. He's a start 2, and he got 60% of this list. That's really good. That means he's got some sight word ability. I'm happy with that. So now I want to check nonsense. Get it up here. Let me reduce it so you get an idea of it. All right. Okay. Now the kindergarten kids should be able to knock off the first 5 words towards the end of kindergarten. If they're pretty sharp, they maybe get all 10. But the first 5 is what they should be able to do. Now I time them for the all 10. That's 10 points, 10% for each. So they may start with 20% and then get 50. Same rule as the other. Now this follows the sequence of my program. Closed, blends at front, blends at the end. Tall king, think word, silent E, vowel tag, vowel change, our family, diphthongs, endings with diphthongs and vowel teams, and reds. It follows my program. So when a kid bombs here, you know he's at closed syllables. See what I mean? So this is directly related to my program. So kindergarten, we try to see how they do at 10, unless they're starting to get bummed here, we just stop and give them 50% out of the 10. Everyone else will give them a shot at the 20. And it's how many percent they get, okay? So first grade should be able to read at least the first 10 words, okay? And they'll receive a percent score. So if they're reading, that's 10 words out of the 20, that's 5 for each one, that gives them 50%. Okay. If a child like a start 4 reads up to here, that's what you want to see. So this is a quick time. Kindergarten will do the first 10. If you have a really low start 1, you could do the first 10 and give them a percent for the first 10. But our goal is to give them a percent out of the first 20 so that we know that they started at on the phonics, Tatum Phonics Continuum. They started knowing 25% of the program. They now are reading 95% of the phonics code. So this is a little different than other programs. Nonsense. Mine has a sequence to it. And all the subsequent ones follow the same sequence, just different letters. So the word 6 will look like this. The word 7 will look like this. The word 14 will work. It'll just be a different nonsense word. That makes sense? Okay, so you're in Bohoken, you got 10 kids, 22 in the population. You've done my survey and you've checked the sounds. You've done this and the other, and you can see that they're really low on word attack and phonics. And then you go to the ACE, which is free. The ACE, you just go to Safari and you're going to put in ACE reading test. I have it bookmarked. If the child is in start grade 2, I'll put them in general. I'll put them in grade 2. So I get the ACE reading test. I pick what theme. There's 3 generals, 3 is American history, 3 earth and science. I never do the long form, and 3 fun facts. So I can get 1, 2, 3, 4. I can do 15 different stories and time them. So I'm going to pick general. He's in 2nd grade, and I'm going to select the first story. Now I'm doing this even though the kids will start 1 or 2, so I have a comparable score. So he will begin. I simply put begin, and he will read. A shepherd boy watched a flock of sheep near his village one day. Now, if he can't read anything, he bolts down, I'll stop him. I don't want a kid to get upset. I'll just say, great job. And usually at that point, I will move on and make note he couldn't do this test. So was unable, missed 10 out of the first 10 words, unable to complete test. That's a good start because later on I'm going to give it and he should be able to read some of it. Okay. Now what's nice about this, at the end, it tells you your words per minute, and then it has a comprehension test. I'm just going to randomly fill things. And the wolf had an very took his time and ate. Good boy. All right, done. Okay, so I check. Oh, he ate the boy. Okay. No, the sheep. All right, so now that I've done that, I view results, and it tells me you got 209 words per minute and 75% comprehension. I also noted his oral errors. So when I write this in my notebook, I'll put 209 words, 75 over 3x, 3 errors. This is a cool test. It's free, and there's, like I said, 15 forms I can use. It's tough, though. It's nonfiction, and it's pretty tough. And kids who are used to using fiction have to adjust to this. Now, this is kind of more what I use when I tutor kids to check how they're doing on nonfiction is this. And I will use my survey to check how the phonics and sight words coming. So those I call more your clinical test, but you could use them as your pre-post. And it would go something like this. Tom started in Ocean Fun, written at 0.9, and he's reading 25 words a minute. 3 months later, he's reading, this is typical, he's reading Hurricane at 2.9 at 70 words per minute with 1 error. He initially at 2nd grade could not read the ACE story at 2nd grade level, had to stop after 10 words. He's now reading the whole story at 50 words a minute at 75% comprehension. His phonics survey test, he could only do 40% of the phonics. He now is doing 95% of the phonics. His sight word, he went from 5% at grade level to 60%. Now that's a lot of data. Okay. So that is more informal. You don't need any bells and whistles. You don't need any approval. You don't need anything, but you keeping track of that data. And I think it's just as legitimate as anything else. The thing is, you're not compared to a control group. Well, you are on the ACE, but on my test, you're not. Okay, now we will be giving you the directions to this. Steve's got the directions that I'd like you to look over those. I usually end with a quick spelling test of 5 words. And I'm trying to think what those 5 words are. Let's see, that's batch and fudge and like hopping and hopeful
Laugh.
and laugh.
Yeah.
Laugh is laugh. What?
And useless.
Useless. Okay, 5 or 6. And that's just to see if they have a word form area, if they've learned rules. And, you know, it becomes real clear. Let's just take the test I gave you. This kid, start two, only knows 25% of the words, 20% of the nonsense. Start two on my survey, can't spell any of those words. Reading, could only do like 10 words a minute. Okay, he's a good solid start too. That just really nails it, okay? If he aces those words, that's telling me he's got a word form area, so something's unusual, so look out. Be aware to move faster. Something's different here, okay? If a kid's scoring like a start 1 or 2, but knows a lot of sight words and spelling words, I'm going, whoa, he just hasn't been taught. We've had kids like that and they make 4 or 5 years in 3 months. It's amazing. Okay. All right. So we're going to pause here. Look over the test, how to kind of do them, and then we can talk about those again tomorrow. And I'll open it up for questions. We'll just go 10 minutes because we're all fried. God, this has been long.